Hey everybody, this is John Witte with the Hysteria Project, and I want to welcome you today to our webinar. During quarantine, we're reviewing some of the most helpful tools that we use in the Hysteria process. And so last week, Tina Salazar looked at the tool of looking at your roles and relationships. And this week, I'm going to look at our tool for how you develop your life purpose. You know, busy schedules can make us think that life is okay when it's really not okay. I don't know if you've ever been in this kind of conversation, but I have. Somebody asks you, hey, how's things going? And your response is, oh, I've been so busy, as if a busy schedule means that your life is good. And so then you go on and say, I haven't had a day off in 2 weeks. Well, you can't say that now during the quarantine. Or maybe you talk about how hectic it's been trying to get the kids to all their sporting events. And don't you wish you could actually take your kids to a sporting event right now? That'd be kind of a nice break, wouldn't it? Or maybe, you know, people who like to go on cruises say, yeah, life's really busy and we're going on 3 cruises this year. Well, nobody's going on any cruises now after COVID-19. So quarantine has pretty drastically changed our schedules, and it's left a lot of us wondering, what the heck is my life about anyway? So today I want to ask the question, how does quarantine help us answer the question of what life is about? And to help us do that, Linda and I, we bought a few acres in the hill country, and we've been getting a lot of heavy rains this spring, and so the weeds and grass have just been growing wild. And so over the past 6 days, I've been focused on getting our 20 acres of weeds mown down. And plus, it was just a really great way to go out every day and practice social distancing out in the middle of the Texas hill country. And the project has really been all-consuming. For those 6 days, I was up early every day. I was focused. I was energized. I was even dreaming about mowing weeds some. And I was pretty motivated by this project. And in fact, mowing the river 20 acres in one way kind of became my mini purpose for a week. Now, of course, I'm grateful for the fact that mowing weeds isn't my life purpose. But it was a good example of how purpose affects us. Purpose makes life meaningful for you and me. When we have a purpose, it makes our life meaningful. When we don't have one, we kind of lose meaning. And that's true even if it's just mowing the 20 acres at the river, or it's true even if it's just facing another day of quarantine. When you have a sense of purpose, it makes your life meaningful even when your schedule isn't all that busy. And so there's something I don't want you to miss, and it's this. COVID-19 can't define your life purpose, but it can make it even more significant. And I want to give you an illustration from a friend of mine that I think really makes this point very well, that this pandemic can actually make our life purpose even more significant. I've got a friend out in Midland, Texas. His name is San, and San is a really outstanding insurance agent there in West Texas. And about half of his clients are in the oil and gas business. But you know that that industry has been decimated. Yesterday, we had a historic drop in oil prices. And of course, we've had a lower demand for oil because of the COVID quarantine. And so 6 weeks ago, oil was trading at $70 a barrel. And yesterday, it traded at minus $37 a barrel. Well, as a result, many of San's clients are actually, unfortunately, going out of business. And if San thought that his life purpose was just to make money by selling insurance, the pandemic would be destroying his sense of purpose. But making money has never been San's purpose, and he's been very clear about that. San's life purpose is to provide insurance that helps businesses face the unexpected. That's what San does. He helps businesses and the people he insures face unexpected events in their life. And of course, the precipitous drop in oil and the coronavirus pandemic has definitely been an unexpected event. And so now, more than ever, Sand's clients need him. But the product they need isn't insurance. Instead of insurance, what they need is they need advice on how to face bankruptcy, or maybe they just need some advice on good business practices, or maybe they just need emotional support from a friend like Sam, or maybe they even need some wise counsel. And so Sam's purpose to help businesses face the unexpected is more in demand now than it ever was before the pandemic. And so COVID-19 can actually make you and your life purpose more valuable than you've ever been before. And understanding this is the key to thriving during the pandemic. And that's really what this webinar today is all about. Understanding that your life purpose can be more meaningful right now than it's ever been before is the key to thriving during the pandemic. And so I want us to spend a few minutes looking at some tools that help us understand how to discover our life purpose. So let me start by saying that you don't just pick your life purpose out of midair. Instead, your purpose comes from your personal story. And because it does, it's unique to you. Now, at the Istoria process, we use a diagram called Freytag's pyramid. It's also known as the narrative arc, and we're going to put that on the screen right now so that you can see it. We believe that everyone's life is a story. And one of the things that you'll notice on Freytag's pyramid, down in the lower left part, you'll notice a red line there. And that red line represents what in a story is called an inciting incident. And purpose comes from redeeming the pain that is caused by an inciting incident whenever you and I experience it. Now, there's a ton that I could say about inciting incidents, and there's no way I have time to talk about all that today. We'd never finish. But an inciting incident is an event that is done to you, and it happens to all of us, and it usually happens between the ages of 5 and 9, and it causes us to question our personal security and our significance. It causes us to question our security and our significance. And this causes an emotional pain to us. Many of us, it causes us to feel unloved, unwanted, or unaccepted. And it causes us to doubt our significance, that we really have what's necessary to be able to succeed in life. And so what all of us do is we spend the rest of our lives trying to regain security through the approval of others, and we try to regain our sense of significance through the things that we can accomplish. Now, while it is true that the quest to regain security and significance does some negative things to us, it also does two very positive things. And I want to spend our time talking about those two positive things. The first thing an inciting incident does to you over the course of your life is it creates a passion in you for something. It has caused you to really love to do something, and it has created a kind of a concern in you for other people, for a certain kind of other people. That's one thing that it does. It creates a passion in you. Your inciting incident also, over time, creates a skill set for dealing with your life. And you may not realize this. And so one of the things that we do in the Istoria project is we use another tool called the purpose diagram. And I'm going to have Travis put that on the screen right now. We're going to spend a few minutes working our way through that. The pain of your past, when you and I redeem that pain, we can turn the pain of our past into our life purpose. And because your pain is unique and your story is unique, your purpose in life is also very unique. And so how do we discover our life purpose? Well, there are three questions that you can see in those two circles in the purpose diagram. And I want us just briefly to go through and let me explain those. As you answer these questions, it's going to enable you to discover your life purpose. The first question that we need to answer is, what are you passionate about, or what do you love to do? Now, when you think about that, this is the thing that you can just do it all the time and you don't ever get tired of it. You have unlimited energy to do this certain thing. And another way of thinking about it is that if given enough time, your mind and your attention and your emotions will always tend to drift back toward this certain thing. What is it that you really love to do? And so to discover your life purpose, first of all, you need to answer that question. What is that thing that you love to do? But your life purpose isn't just made up of what you're passionate about. Because still, even the thing that you love to do, it can still sort of be self-centered. And a life purpose is not self-serving. A life purpose is for the purpose of actually benefiting other people. And so there's a second question that you need to ask in that circle on the left, the passion circle. And that is, about whom do you care deeply? What I mean by this is, what category of person tends to really tug at your heart? When you see these people, when you meet these people, when you encounter them, you're concerned for them. What kind of person do you find yourself wanting to help in some way? Or another way of thinking about it is, what kind of person could actually benefit if you were to live out your life purpose? And so you need to identify that category of person. And then once you've answered those two questions in the left circle, then you move to the right circle about your skill set. And this is asking the question, what am I great at? Now, when I ask people this question, a lot of people kind of demur and they say, oh, well, you know, I'm not great at anything. But this isn't true. All of us are actually great at something. And one way of identifying what you're great at is by asking the question, what do other people seek from you? What do people keep coming to you for? Like, for example, maybe you're really handy at, you know, setting up appliances. And so people are always asking you, hey, I got this new washing machine and dryer. Would you install them for me? Or, you know, things like that. I mean, that's just one example. There are other things that people always seek from you because they recognize that you are really good at it. That's why they want it from you. And we oftentimes think it's so easy because the thing we're great at is easy for us to do. We do it naturally. And we just think everybody can do it, but it's not true. Everybody can't do what you can do, and that's why they seek this thing from you. So these are the three questions. Now, when you have short answers to each of those three questions, then you want to take those three short answers and combine them into a brief purpose statement. And then you want to try to link your purpose back to the pain of your past to understand how you became passionate about that certain thing you love to do, why you care about a certain kind of people, and how you came by this skill set, and understand how that redeems the pain that you experienced in your past from your inciting incident. So let me give you just my own brief example using my story. My purpose statement is to help people make the most of their life for the benefit of others. That's what I get up to do every day. Help people make the most of their life for the benefit of others. Now, my inciting incident is I was bullied at age 6, and it created fear in me. And when that happened, I lost my sense of security. And so I tried to regain it all through my teenage and young adult years, through the things that I could accomplish. And so I was driven to perform and try to accomplish stuff. But y'all, it didn't matter how much I accomplished. It was never enough to overcome my fears. And when I reached about middle age, around age 40, I became very frustrated with the way that I was living. I became frustrated that I couldn't make my life work. I felt like I should be able to, and I couldn't do it. And so this set me on a course to actually discovering my life purpose? So let me tell you the answers to those three questions that I spoke about earlier. Here's my answers to them. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about helping people discover how life works. It's why I'm doing this presentation for you today, because I just love to do this kind of thing. Secondly, who do I really care for? I care about people who feel stuck in life and they can't figure out why they're stuck, but they are motivated to want to get their life moving. That's the group of people that I really want to work with. And then my skill set is I have this natural ability to see the big picture and to see patterns, and I can relate the patterns in your life to why you got stuck, how you got stuck, and I can also use them to show you how to get your life moving again. And so that leads to my purpose statement to help people make the most of their life for the benefit of others. Now, let's take what we've done today and let's connect it back to what Tina did last week. Last week, Tina talked about our roles and our relationships. And one of the things that COVID quarantine has done is it has changed some of our roles. So you're working in a different way, you're parenting in a different way, you're relating to your spouse in a different way. These are all roles that you have. And this has also, the quarantine and the pandemic has created some new problems. And so what Tina said last week is that if you know your purpose, then you can use your life purpose to solve the new problems that are coming up because of the pandemic and the quarantine. This is what San, my friend in West Texas, is doing. He's using his life purpose to address a whole new set of problems and to serve people with them. And that is why San and his purpose are more meaningful than they ever were before. And so even though I know San is hurting for his friends, he has a real sense of meaning and a reason to get up and go to work every day and help people and serve people. And so if you know your purpose, you can use it to solve the problems that you're facing in the roles that you play. And this makes you even more meaningful, and it causes you to be able to thrive even in the midst of the pandemic. And so here's what I want you to do today. First of all, let me say it negatively. Don't let your schedule distract you away from what matters. I want you to live with purpose. And then secondly, if you don't know your purpose, try to use the forms that we've used today, but if you can't figure it out on your own, and sometimes we need a little help, come see us at the Historia Project if you want to. Let us help you with your story and with identifying your life purpose. Pretty soon, it looks like we might be able to do that face-to-face again in the office, or we're able to do it with a Zoom conference just like we're doing today, and so we could work with you that way as well. Or if you want to just try on your own, I've done a 6-part video series. We've reduced the price significantly during the pandemic. You can get that series in our workbook for $20 right now, $19.95, I think, or something like that. And you can get it and work on your own. And then if you want, you can come see us later. So whatever you do, discover your purpose, recognize how meaningful you and your purpose are right now, and use your purpose to solve the new problems that you're facing, okay? All right, that's the end of my presentation. So we want to take some questions right now. If you have a question, just let us know about that. Use our chat tool there. I'll turn it back over to Travis or Tina, whoever's going to run this part of it, and let them chime in, and we'll be here to answer some questions if you have them. Thanks, y'all.
Great, thanks, John, for your presentation. If you do have any questions, please put them there in the chat. And we'll address them. Also, while we're waiting to see if any questions, next week, Witte, you'll be talking again about our decision matrix. It's another tool that we use on how you look and analyze and make decisions going forward. We do have a question. Is there a difference between mission and purpose?
I would say that they're very similar to each other. Mission might be how you specifically use a purpose that you have. Purpose is very specific to you. It grows right out of your story. Mission, I don't think necessarily has to grow out of your story. I think you could be assigned a mission, you know, by someone else, maybe who's in authority over you. Like, for instance, let's just take someone in the armed services. You're given a mission to accomplish by a superior, but then what you're going to do is you're going to use your purpose, your passion, and your skill set, and you're going to use your purpose to accomplish the mission, which I see as being a little bit broader. Sometimes people do use those two words interchangeably, but in my mind, a purpose is a little bit more specific than a mission, but I wouldn't say there's tons of difference between the two. So if you've done a mission statement, and you know, then you can certainly use that. If your mission statement is too broad, it makes it hard for you to really focus in on how you're going to solve a problem. So I would use the chart that we showed you, the tool that we showed you. I'd get very specific about what you have energy for, who you have energy for, and how you're able to accomplish that with your particular skill set. Get more specific is what I'd say to most people. Great question. Thank you, Cinda.
Great. Any other questions? So just again, so next week, same time on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, will you be presenting again on making decisions in light of the COVID-19 pandemic that we're going through? A lot of new situations, a lot of new awareness, realities that people are facing, and we'll talk about our decision matrix and how to bring purpose into that. So I want to thank everyone. Oh, another question. How can I encourage my team to keep working when most of their work purpose has been taken away?
So, you know, that's a good question, Megan. I think I'm going to go back to the story I told about my friend San. So if San thought that his purpose in life was to sell insurance, he would be one of the most depressed people in the world right now. And I can tell you, I had a conversation with him last week while I was on the road, actually to go mow. And so I just called him up. And I could tell in his voice that he was pretty depressed. I mean, he's usually a very upbeat, positive guy. And he was carrying a pretty heavy burden. But one of the things that came out in that conversation is that San was able to make a distinction between what he has to accomplish at work and his life purpose. So what I would suggest is, Megan, is because of the quarantine and the fact that work has been taken away, what has happened to your coworkers and the people on your team is it has raised a whole new set of problems for them. And maybe it's raised a new set of problems for your team. And so what I would encourage you to do is each person as a member of the team come together and you guys figure out how to solve these new problems that your team is facing. It might not be something that, you know, you're like is consistent with your original job or something like that, but it's still a new set of problems. And so I would encourage you to actually use those. You say, yep, we're in sales. Yeah, right. So, so as you think about it, make a list. Megan, do this. Lead your team to make a list of the new problems that you guys are facing. And let each person contribute to that list. Here's, you know, so they could each contribute some of their personal problems and issues that are a result of that. And then after you make that list of new problems, then you guys combine your efforts together and say, how can we solve those problems? And that'll give you a whole new motivation, you know, for working right at this moment. I think that'll be helpful.
Right, Witte. So I think what you're trying to say is your purpose won't change. It's the area in which it's expressed now is changing. So the problems are new, meaning your situation has changed, but each individual's purpose has not changed because, like you said, their purpose is actually coming from their story. So skill set is a part of it, but their background is also a part of their purpose, their individual purpose. And they all have something to add to the group, to the
Right.
organization.
Yeah, that's a good point. COVID-19 can't define your purpose, but it can make it more meaningful. And so that's exactly what you just said. It's the same thing. Yeah. Nice. Anybody else have a question? Travis, any thoughts as you were listening to the presentation that you want to chime in on or add to, or Tina?
I think you covered it really well, and I agree with Tina's point. I think we all have a unique purpose because we have a unique set of experiences, families that we've come from, and trials. And the thing about COVID-19 is it puts a magnifying glass. It's with a crisis, it gives you different lens to look at things. And our hope during this time is, besides all the new challenges, it's time to also kind of look within and say, well, there's some opportunities here too, to really do some thinking about my purpose and the people around me and how I could impact them through Tina's presentation last week through roles, relationships, and this week how I really nail down my purpose and make it something that's actionable and actually moves. So I think it's all good stuff. So
one thing to add, Travis, we're going to send out to the attendees the form, correct? After this webinar.
That's correct.
And
so
maybe a good thing would be to identify your purpose or have your team identify each of their purposes, because some people have not spent that time to reflect on what their contribution can be.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, for everyone listening, we're giving you, this is our 4th out of 6 steps in the Hysteria process. And so before we got to purpose, we would have spent, a good 4 or 5 hours doing other work before we tried to write a life purpose. So to just come at it with only this tool is a little bit limiting, but I would still do what Tina said and try, make a stab at it. If you've never really attempted to identify your life purpose, then make a stab at it. It'll be better than nothing at all. And then if you're interested in it, let us help you through it or whatever. But, there is quite a bit of work prior to this normally, but this is just a tool that can be really helpful.
Great. Well, we'll wrap up there. So as Tina said, we'll email these forms out to the attendees. We also recorded this, and we'll have it on YouTube within 24 hours. So if you want to watch it or share it with some of your friends or coworkers, feel free to do that. And we want to thank everyone for attending very much. And so we'll see you all next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.